Welcome to Resistance Chicks. We'll make this second.
Oh, it's a brand new one. Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 4th of June, 2017. We just brought you an extensive segment on Putin and Megyn Kelly kind of bantering and going back and forth.
And now we're going to cover where she questions him on Syria and again lays down the smack. It's awesome.
Yes.
Our president has said that you're backing an evil guy there. He said Assad is an evil guy. Do you believe that?
I hate the way she talks, by the way. It's creepy. Do you believe that?
What? Believe in what? That Assad is an evil man?
Yes.
An evil guy? You've got to ask the other leaders who have communicated with Assad. He was more often in Europe after being elected than in Russia. It is not President Assad whom we are protecting there. We are protecting the Syrian statehood. We don't want there in Syria to be a situation similar to that in Libya or in Somalia or in Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, NATO has been present for many years, but the situation is not changing for the better. We want to preserve the Syrian statehood. And on the basis of resolving this fundamental issue, we would like them to move towards settling the Syrian issue through political means. Yes, probably everyone is there to blame for something, but let's not forget that were it not for inactive interference from outside, the civil war would probably not have broken out. What is President Assad being accused of recently? We know he's accused about using chemical weapons, but there's no evidence to support that whatsoever. Right after the incident, we suggested that an inspection should be carried out at the airbase from which allegedly the aircraft of President Assad had taken off carrying chemical weapons. If chemical weapons had been used, then those weapons would have been loaded onto the aircraft and the cutting-edge analyzing equipment would have detected that. But they refused to conduct this kind of inspection.
There's two reasons why they wouldn't have done the inspections. They said it was because they felt like it was too dangerous to go in. And in my opinion, they knew, number one, that they wouldn't find it.
Right.
They knew, number two, it was dangerous because that area wasn't, ISIS was there too.
Exactly.
So they're talking a lot, but not doing much. We suggested that an inspection should be carried out at the place where the strike took place. They're saying it's too dangerous. Why is it dangerous if the strike was against the good part of the opposition? No, they say it's too dangerous. There is a representative of Iraq here, whom we welcome. In Iraqi Kyrgyzstan, the militants used chemical weapons, and the world community recognized it. So they know that the militants there have got chemical weapons. But according to the OPCW, Syria has destroyed its stocks of chemical weapons. You see, if pretexts are created without any real willingness to look into the matter, it's not going to lead us anywhere. Let's talk substantively. Did Assad make mistakes? Yes, probably a lot of them. But those who oppose him, are they angels? Who is murdering people and executing children, beheading people? Should we support those people who do that? You know, that together with our American counterparts, we had discussions, ad infinitum, about different territories where we should perform strikes or we shouldn't. They were telling us that there were territories where we shouldn't perform strikes because the opposition, the good opposition was mixed with the Al-Nusra Front. Well, in that case, they've got to separate the bad guys from the good guys of the opposition.
Al-Nusra Front was with the quote good guys. Why are they together?
Right.
We wait for these terrorists to come to our country? No, we're not going to wait for that. Let's find an agreement. Prime Minister is nodding an agreement. India is always facing the threat of terrorism. This is not just a far-fetched problem. 4,000 people from the Russian Federation, according to our estimates, are in Syria, and around 4,500 from the CIS countries. And this is a real threat we are facing, because some of them try to get back, and some of them do get back. We launched our operation in Syria because we knew what all of this would result in. You shouldn't try labeling people. We've got to work together substantively, and we're willing to engage in this work, but we need a constructive approach on your side.
So this is exactly what we're trying to do, like with Caitlin and McKinney, and be like, listen, you know what? There could be some differences between the Russians and the Americans, but we have to be able to get together. But the establishment on both sides does not want this to happen. Exactly. And they don't want it to happen between you guys and everybody.
You're going to play the whole segment here?
Yeah, she goes on. That's fine.
So, we know that Assad has used chemical weapons before, and Russia entered into an agreement in 2013 to stop that. I mean, Russia acknowledged that in 2013 when it acknowledged to try to stop that by Assad. The only question is whether he launched the chemical weapons attack that happened a couple of months ago.
Truth alert, it's not proven that Assad actually used those chemical weapons.
Oh.
Exactly.
And I just want to press you a little further on this. Because we all saw the video of the suffering, dying children, and that was the reason that President Trump dropped the bomb. Do you deny, because Assad denies that those tapes are real, he's purporting to tell us not to believe our lying eyes. Do you believe those tapes are fake?
First, when President Obama and I agreed to work together to destroy chemical weapons in Syria, we assumed that Syria had it, but we never recognized that Assad had used it. So please be more precise.
So she just schooled her.
Secondly, as for those people who were killed or who suffered because of the use of weapons, including chemical weapons, this is false information. As of now, we are absolutely confident that this is just a provocation. President Assad didn't use chemical weapons. All of this was orchestrated in order to stage him, to accuse him. Moreover, our intelligence services have got information that in other districts of Syria, not far from Damascus, there were plans to reproduce this scenario, and we made these plans publicly, those who had been planning this action.
They made it public that there are people who are going to reproduce this again.
Right.
And make it look like another chemical attack, and they found out about it and they brought it to the forefront.
Right.
But was that it reported on?
Thought it better not to engage in these actions.
That was him saying that.
If I could just follow up on that, though, because the bodies of the victims were autopsied at Turkey's Andara Forensic Medicine Institution. The autopsies were witnessed by officials from the World Health Organization and from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. And they concluded that the victims were attacked with sarin gas. Are we really to believe that the whole thing was staged, that everybody was in on it? The World Health Organization, the Forensic Medicine Institution, the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons?
The answer is very simple, and you know it. Yes, sarin could have been used by someone, but not by Assad. It could have been used by someone in order to accuse President Assad. So we have to understand who is to blame, and Otherwise, if there is no true investigation, it's only going to play into the hands of those who orchestrated it. I'd like to ask you a question. Why didn't everyone go right away to inspect the air base to the spot where chemical weapons allegedly had been used? Why didn't they want to go to see the aircraft that had been allegedly used to perform the strike? The answer is very simple, because they were afraid that everything, the truth, would come to light. What you're telling me doesn't convince me of anything. It just persuades me that we'd better not engage in tug of war there or speculate. We've got to pull our efforts together to counter real threats. And we know what these real threats are. The US is very far. Yes, there was an explosion there, people suffered, which we offer our condolences. But we also know what terrorists is all about. We have seen its manifestations. And no one should try to use terrorists to address short-term political interests. Even there are attempts at that. Yes, there are attempts at using terrorists against, say, Assad. Why use them? Because no one else would fight. I do not think it's worthwhile using these terrorists today, because tomorrow it's gonna cost you a lot. When Al-Qaeda was created in Afghanistan to fight against the Soviet Union, they didn't know that it would strike the US on 9/11. We've got to think about negative ramifications in the long term.
That is probably the most powerful thing that he has said.
For those of you that don't understand what he said, it's like, listen, if you're going to be working with these people that you think are just kind of mild and they're not really terrorists, and you start funding them and supporting them and backing them and giving them the tools that they need, you need to be able to take responsibility for the consequences, because guess what? We pretty much funded, whether you believe that we did it or not, wholeheartedly, we did fund what happened to us in 9/11.
Right.
And that's what he's saying. He's like, listen, this is going to come back and bite you in the butt, lady. That's what he's saying.
Also saying that they had about 4,000 or 5,000 people leaving from the Russian Federation. It's not just like Russia. You've got like Chechnya there and other different, like in the part of the Federation, and different Muslim pockets who have left there. Now the Boston bombers went to Chechnya, and then I believe the bomber in the subway in Russia was a Chechen guy who I think had gone to Syria to fight. And these guys go
to be trained
and to fight, and then they go back, right? And so Putin lays it out, and we've laid this out like 100 million times.
But it is so beautiful to hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
Right.
To hear Putin, it's like, you know what? It's kind of like one of those family things where it's he said, she said, and everybody talked all these rumors until you can actually sit down and hear it from.
And you know what?
The
you have to be
person.
able to, when you do that, and I'm sorry to
interrupt me.
Interrupt you, talk over you. When you do that, you get a feel for a person.
Exactly.
I was actually, sometimes we feel like we have so much information, we try to talk it 2 times, 2 at once.
It's okay.
So that you get 2, it's like we stream, it's
surround
like a dual layer.
Sound.
It's a dual layer. We do it in real life too.
Yeah.
All of
our
us.
friends, their heads kind of spin. They actually adapt. I think that our viewers have adapted.
We know
it's always the new people.
Right, exactly. We know that
you talk over each other.
We're trying to get 2 things out at one time, so we just talk at the same time. And we know that you have a right part of your brain and left part of your brain, so you can get both.
We're like the same person, and so it's like I can finish her sentences and she can finish mine, but I do understand how difficult it is for those of you that English is not your native language. It's hard for those of you that it is your native language.
Okay,
I know,
so,
I get it.
and then I didn't. My point is that when I listen to Putin, I get a feel for him. I know that he's telling the truth. When I hear Megyn Kelly, I want to puke. She like talks baby talk. Like, what do you think about this? You know, when I hear the mainstream media narrative, it hurts my head because I know it's a narrative. I know they're spinning it. This guy, he shoots straight. Whether you like it or you don't like it, he is telling you the truth.
I don't ever watch the, what is it called? I want to say Bomber's body language, something or other. You guys are constantly sending me these links from different interviews from Bombard's body language. I don't actually ever watch them, but I would be interested to see their analysis on Megyn Kelly, because there were times where she did this kind of eye shift where I could tell that she wasn't just listening to what Putin was saying. It was this kind of eye shift where you're listening to something that somebody is telling you to say. So I think she must have had two things going on in her ear, where somebody is feeding her lines. She is a liar. She's a liar, and she's not intelligent. She can't come up with a sound-minded thought on her own.
No.
And they're feeding her these...
So it's
embarrassing to be Megyn Kelly.
I know. I love Putin. I love that he loves his people.
You Russian agent.
And I love what he did to Megyn Kelly, and
well done.
This short little one is hilarious.
With other countries' elections.
There we go.
Prime Minister President Putin said the other day that Russia does not engage in state-sponsored interference with other countries' elections. Do you believe that?
I don't think she thought she was... She ain't funny.
No.
They're just laughing.
She's not a comedian.
У Дадона спросите, он знает.
Ask the Moldovan president, he knows, and if you watch the whole thing, it would be hilarious.
You are talking about America, Germany, and Russia. You talked about President Trump, about Mrs. Hillary Clinton, about Chancellor Merkel, and about President Putin. You've been talking of such big people today. I don't think that you don't need a lawyer like me in between all of you.
We never need more lawyers.
Да, не тут-то было. С индусами непросто. Древняя философия.
Yes, it's very hard to deal with the Hindu. You cannot trick them because their philosophy is so long. We are simple people, we say what we think.
Prime Minister Modi.
He said it's hard to deal with a Hindu because you can't trick them. Their philosophy is we are simple people, we deal with simple things.
Right.
And the American philosophy is we are complicated people and we deal with deep state things.
Yeah.
I loved Prime Minister Modi. He talked about loving... He didn't even want to bash Trump on the climate change things. He's like, listen, we have something that goes back 5,000 years. We want to take care of the planet. That's all we really care about. He's a beautiful person. He's a beautiful human being. Like we said before, I like the Hindus, man. They're like my buddies. Okay? We don't want to harm each other. Come to here in America, you want to be a Hindu? That's great. You know what they do? They do what Americans do.
Right. They do.
They don't blow people up.
No, they don't.
Because it ain't part of their religion, even as crazy as I think it is. They love God. They really do. And they love nature. And they love God's creation. And I love them.
Well, okay.
What?
Well, here at Resistance Chicks, we bring the truth. Jesus Christ is the only God. The Hindus have many gods. Right. They love their idea of God. We have to tell the truth. It's not really God. But we love that I
think that many Hindus actually are such seekers of God. There's a scripture in the Bible that says they find Him. They see God through creation and they find Him. And I really think that there are millions of Hindus, just like Native Americans. They were like, oh, you come. We worship great creator too.
And it's true. You brought up the Native Americans. That's a fine example, because when Christopher Columbus came and he had these flags that had crosses on them, the Native Americans said, we have had visions of a man dying on a cross to save all of creation. So the Hindus can find Jesus, but He's the only way to get to heaven and the only way to get to God. So, all right, this was hilarious. I hope you guys found it as funny as we did. I absolutely enjoyed this time sharing it with you guys too. So, this is Leah Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it's not just a conspiracy theory. If Vladimir Putin is hilarious. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring that bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We love you. God loves you. God bless. Don't forget, we're going to be in Bozeman, Montana, June 23rd and 24th at the Red Pill Expo. That is redpillexpo.org, and we want to see you guys there. God bless.
is cold, I'm alone.